You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Paul Apostolakis, Brad Weisgerber, Gerber, Salvatore Guzmano. How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good. We are Inside Real Estate. For those of you that listen to our show, thank you for listening. We've got over 25,000 downloads of our podcast now. It just keeps growing. Like we used to get like 20 podcast downloads a week. Now we're up to like 400 or 500. It's kind of crazy. So people are actually listening. So for those of you that listen, please like, subscribe, go to irepodcast.com. You can go to Facebook/IRE podcast. You can find us on YouTube. And you can find us on any podcast app, wherever you want to listen to us. Wherever you listen to us, please make sure to hit that notification bell so you're notified when we have a new episode, which is every week. Every week we come in here and we try to bring you guys value. Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. But today, I think we hit it. I think we got one of our favorite guests on the show. They come on here around this time every year, maybe once or twice a year. Joe and Jon Angell from Angell and Company. They are CPAs. They know their shit. Welcome to the show, guys. There they go. Oh, there we go. What up?
Hey,
we got Joe, and then we're waiting for Mr. John. Can we get John up on the
Is
screen?
he late?
There he is.
That's
And we
John.
lost Sal. Oh, there's Sal.
Yeah. We can dump Brad at any point in time. He's not.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't talk much, anyways. So, what up, boys? So today I want to talk to you guys about trying to untangle the stimulus, PPP, small businesses, what you guys are seeing as far as that goes. What options do small businesses have right now? And I also want to talk to you about any tax changes that you guys see coming down the pike, comparatively speaking, from last year, if there are going to be any, and things that you guys think we should look out for. But let's start with your introduction, guys. How long have you guys been doing this? You guys have been doing this for a while.
Yeah, so our firm has been around almost 40 years. My father started it.
God bless you.
Yeah, about 20 years now. And my brother right there behind me. But yeah, almost 20 years I've been an accountant / CPA. And, clients all over the country. And as you guys know, we work with a ton of real estate professionals, mortgage professionals like yourselves, kind of our sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason we work with you guys. There's a reason why a lot of our agents that we work with you guys. There's a lot of agents that we don't work with that work with you guys. Bottom line is you guys understand the nuances of real estate tax preparation, what to look out for. You guys have protected us for years. So you guys know your shit. That's why we always have you back on. So, guys, let's start with the PPP. It was supposed to be out. A lot of people didn't get in the first time, potentially. Now there's a second round of it. What is going on? Can the people that had it before get it again? Should they get it again? Those are some of the questions that I'm thinking. Because, like, for us, we got it the first time. We didn't know what was going on. We were terrified. Now we're doing a little better. Things are moving along, but it sounds like we're still qualified. Even if depending on what it looks like. So what are you guys saying to people that already got the PPP that might be up for another round? How does that work?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little overview, and then John can jump in on some of the details.
Right.
But basically, you got round one. You should get that thing forgiven. If you haven't got it forgiven yet, go do that. 99.9% of all of our clients are getting that forgiven. Okay. So then on to round two, and to keep it simple, who's eligible? If you had a 25% dip in gross income, total sales from 20 compared to 2019 overall, or a quarter of 2020 compared to that same quarter of 2019, a 25% dip. So for my realtors, mortgage professionals, that second quarter of 2020 seems to be the hot item. When we were closed down, the pandemic, you look at your numbers there, compare it to 19, you're down 25%, you qualify. No brainer, easy process.
Is it revenue or sales, Joe? Because for us,
same thing. So whenever you're the top number is before expenses if there's a dip. And, basically everyone, it's second quarter 2020 to second quarter 2019, because that was the majority of when the shutdown was.
Got it.
If you run QuickBooks, just do a profit and loss comparative of second quarter 20 to second quarter 19, and majority of people are down at least 25%.
Yeah, I know we were, right, Brad, on that quarter specifically, right?
Yeah, because we pretty much stopped writing loans that quarter.
Yeah, we totally. I mean, if you look at our chart, you'll see a huge dip for that quarter for 2 months. So you're saying that for us, if the quarter was affected, that we can go for round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep this in mind too. Let's say you missed the ball, you dropped the ball on round 1. Okay, you can get round 1 PPP 1 now. Get the money, use it, get it forgiven, and also get PPP round 2.
Wow.
Of the PPP money out there, you got $424 billion set aside for the PPP fund.
Wow.
Also, off round 1, the loan amount that people got, the max was 10 million. Now it's 2 million. The max employees was 500. Now it's 300. So they're really trying to make this for the small business, realtor, small business owner. A lot of PPP money out there. And as John will tell you, we're helping people on the PPP loans, on the forgiveness. We can step in and help with that.
Yeah, you guys helped us. You're helping me right now with my wife because we missed the first boat, and she's self-employed and she never got it. So to your point, how important is it to have someone proficient setting it up? How much fast, like I know obviously I can go on and do it, but I trust you guys. The efficiency is probably what makes the most difference, right, John? Like, why is it that we would go through a company like you over just doing it ourselves?
Well, I mean, again, it's different for everyone. Obviously we do this all the time, so I think it's easier for us. Some people might pull up that application and just, see everything like, I'm not touching this. So we've done, hundreds of them. So just hands off. We know exactly the right loan amount that you can get. We know exactly what the lenders want to see to make sure that it goes through. Basically, anyone that we prepared an application for has gotten their funds. And that's if on the first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, we know what these lenders want to see. So, I'm pretty sure we've hit on every single one that's applied.
Yeah.
And that loan calculation amount and the backup, if that's not right on, you can get declined, get sent to the back of the line. So that's important to have that calculation amount, not only to get the money, but then when you go for forgiveness, to make sure that that's all in line. At the end of the day, this is free money. 99% of our clients had got this forgiven. It's a no-brainer out there for most businesses.
Do you see any government webs down the road that people could get caught up in, or businesses?
I mean, they're definitely, I'm seeing on round 2, they are looking into the backup more than for round 1 because there was so much fraud with round 1 going on. So, I mean, again, if you're doing legit practices, you have nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we make sure the backup that we're providing makes sense so that down the road, you'll get it forgiven.
Yeah.
There's always things, the government's always out there, right? So you do want to be careful. But again, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you have nothing to worry about when applying for it.
Yeah.
What's the difference this time as far as forgiveness guidelines? Are they the same as they were in round 1? Are they different? What's changed with that?
The forgiveness is the same for round 1. It's the same thing.
As long as you use the money for the right purposes, you're fine, right?
And they have more purposes now. They're doing for if you needed protection for COVID and qualified expenses. It's not just payroll, rent, and utilities. There's other expenses in there too. But basically, everyone uses it up for payroll, so there really shouldn't be any issues. And then for realtors that are self-employed and they don't have any payroll and they're just getting the PPP loan based on the profit of their Schedule C, the profit of their business, that's super easy to get forgiven because you just have to basically take draws or distributions or pay yourself over that time frame, just showing them, hey, I've taken this money to pay myself to get it forgiven.
So John, so basically, I'll go. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, Paul. Great point. A lot of realtors Schedule C self-employed realtors or LLC realtors that have no employees, they may have thought, hey, no, I don't qualify for this. They do. And as Jon just said, you're literally getting the money and paying yourself that money. Okay.
So forgiven almost automatically because you're basically paying your salary for that quarter, right?
Yeah, right. You're basically the employee, you could say.
Right. You can consider yourself as employees. And I think a lot of real estate agents, if you're listening out there, they didn't take advantage of it because they're like, oh, that doesn't pertain to me, right?
Yeah, because you give it for payroll, but in
Yeah.
reality, it's for self-employed people as well, because you can almost say they're the payroll.
You are part of the payroll. You got to pay yourself,
That's right? You're self-employed. And as Brad was asking and Jon said, they made those rules easier, if you remember, for the forgiveness. 60%, only 60% had to be used for this payroll cost number. And then they stretched it out over 24 weeks.
Right.
So don't forget they changed the rules on 1, same rules for 2, as Jon said, easy to get this thing forgiven. If you're down, PPP round 2, again, realtors, I had a monster year. What are you talking about? I'm not down. That second quarter 2020 compared to second quarter 19, you may have been down 25% there.
Yeah, because I mean, realistically, Joe, we were up 35% year over year by the end of the year, right? So, for us, but we were down that quarter. We made a huge rebound after that quarter, right? So, does that worry you for a company like us that says, "Hey, yeah, we blew it out, but that quarter was down"? Do you feel like the government might come back and be like, "Listen, you made money. Why the fuck did you take money from us?"
No, because the guidelines.
The rules are the rules.
Quarter.
The rules are the rules. Got it. Okay.
SBA interim rules. Those are the rules on this product right now.
Are there any
go ahead.
implications for 2020 tax returns being filed that you know of right now? Released, like any publications from the IRS from PPP?
At first, it was going to be taxed, but it's not being taxed now.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So what Jon's saying is, we had heard that the money you received for PPP, you couldn't use it as a deduction and you'd have to pay tax on that money. That changed now. It's non-taxable and forgiven. Legitimately free money was the PPP product.
And it's a shame because a lot of people that don't take advantage of it, they're going to leave that money on the table, right?
Well, you can still $425 billion, like I said, and it ends to apply March 31st.
So there's time.
Yep, there's time.
And restaurants are getting hospitality, hotels are getting even more money on the second draw. The first time around, you get 2.5 times your average monthly payroll for restaurants and hotels and things of that industry. They're getting 3.5 times. So
they're good. That's actually positive. I like that.
Yeah, they need it. That makes sense.
Yeah, they need that a lot. That's interesting, guys. I mean, the government came out with a massive stimulus bill, and there's still people that haven't taken advantage of it that don't even know that they could take advantage of it. So if you haven't gotten any, if you're out there and you're self-employed, 1099, Schedule C, whatever it is, you have an opportunity to make your business healthier that's given to us by the government. And sometimes it seems asinine that people are actually refusing it.
Yeah,
right.
People just, I won't apply for me. I'm proud. I've never had to take a loan in my life. This is different, in my opinion. This is a tactic. This is a move. That money's out there. You can use that money and pay yourself, pay the people, keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, I think it would be ill-advised for a company to turn their nose on free money. Regardless if you feel like you deserve it or not, somebody's going to get it. You know what I mean? That money is going to get sent out to companies, and it might as well be you because other companies, your competition, is going to do it, right? So it's kind of a weird thing, to be honest with you guys. It does feel a little guilty. I'm not going to lie to you, Joe and Jon. I think we'll feel a little guilty doing it the round 2 because we kind of did all right. But on the other point of it, Brad, don't you?
That. Yeah. Government takes that from us. If they're going to give you something, you might as well take it, right?
Yeah, bro. I totally agree.
Everyone pays enough in taxes and, has their fair share of penalties, taxes, and fees along the way.
There you go.
It's a one-time thing here.
There you go, dude. we pay taxes our whole lives. We pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah, we're about to pay even more taxes probably.
Oh, whoa. What?
That's a good segue.
What, John?
Into the possible changes, right?
All right.
Possible changes. What we're
you
hearing.
started off good with the PPP, people getting money, but now you're saying you're going to take it back?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, John?
No.
What changes are we seeing in the tax code that's going to cost us more money, John?
I don't know. There's just rumors.
A lot of rumors. Keep this in mind, and people keep calling. Oh, what do I have to do now? I heard capital gains may go up. I heard the step up in basis might go away. What do I do now? Keep in mind, any broad changes won't happen until 1/1/2022. Okay. 2022. So 2021, it's under the same rules for the most part. It's 2022 when you can see broad changes. Like Jon was saying, we're hearing higher tax brackets across the board. Okay. The QBI deduction, this was the 20% RIP. Realtors had 1099 income minus expenses, net number. 20% RIP off that net number was your new taxable income, a free RIP. That's supposed to go goodbye. 21% C Corp tax, gone. And then I was saying the step up in basis. This is crazy. And I work with a lot of estate attorneys. So right now, let's say your mom passes away, okay? She bought a house 1960 for $1. She passes away today. The current rules, it steps up its basis, its cost basis to the fair market value, that house. So now it's $400,000. Family inherits it, sells it for $402. You only pay tax on that $2,000. That gain, that spread small. They're saying they would get rid of the stepping up of basis to fair market value. So mom passes away, you get the house, right? Its basis is $0. You sell it for the $4 whatever, big capital gain, big spread.
Big spread. That's a big difference, because $400K versus $2K in taxes for paying taxes on. That's a big difference. All right. Well, that's rumors right now, though. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Totally. But rumors, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. They're definitely going to do something.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, you know.
Do you feel like, because of the spending on the stimulus side, guys, that the ball is going to have to drop somewhere else, just like you said, like this basis point thing, right? Like, is that change? Because they got to get the money back somehow. I mean, or are they even going to try and then just go into a deficit? It's kind of a weird thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good, obviously, when there's this much money coming out, you know, and they're paying you to stay home, or, you know, things like that. There's obviously something, you know, something's got to happen on the other end, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's
dollar's
interesting.
been propped up for a long time. So, you know, what does that even mean? But yeah, that's a lot of money. And, you know, on that new stimulus, what they're being proposed here, this couple $1 trillion stimulus package, one of the big things in there is the new stimulus payments to people, right? So saying $1,400 per person, $2,800 married filing jointly, and then $1,400 a dependent. So that's a lot of money, a lot of new money that should be coming out here in the next month or so.
Is everybody getting that? Because I didn't get the first. I got the first one because I hadn't filed taxes. I got the second stimulus I didn't get, the $600 or whatever. It's not for everybody, right?
No, if your income level hits a certain point, you're not eligible for it. Now, if you were eligible for it and there's just issues with the stimulus, or you hadn't filed taxes in a while and you never got your money, you are able to get your stimulus while doing your 2020 tax return. It will be included in your refund if your income is below that level, and you let the IRS know, hey, on the tax return that I never received my stimulus. It'll be added to your refund.
That's key.
What is that? What number is that?
I guess we'll just use fair, easy numbers. Let's just use a single person, and they made under $75,000. They'd get $1,200 for the first stimulus, and then $600 for the second stimulus so far.
What happens if you have a family of 4?
And then it would be another $500 per dependent.
Is there an income bump for families? Meaning, like, if me and my
filing jointly, it's $150 and up, and it gets phased out on the way up. So
is that gross
if you're at 175, you'll get half of what stimulus you were supposed to get.
Got it.
Is that gross income or is that net taxable income?
No, it's your total income.
Total income.
And like John said, a lot of people, hey, I didn't get my stimulus check. What do? I called the IRS. This didn't post. That didn't post. I'm so frustrated. What's going on? There's going to be a spot on your 2020 tax return to reconcile that. Hey, IRS, I didn't get it. You owe it to me. And they would increase your refund if it's due to you.
Got it. That's interesting.
What are you expecting for this tax season coming up? Are you guys expecting any backups with the IRS? Are you expecting delays with filing deadlines?
Good question.
What's happening?
Big time.
Already started. Yeah. So they normally e-file, electronically file earlier this week. The IRS already pushed that to February 12th. No one can e-file, nothing until February 12th. So, in our world, they start pushing deadlines. Are they going to push the tax deadline, which is slated for April 15th? I hope not. Last year, we had a 7-month tax season, July 15th. It sucked. Normally, we're sprinting. This was a marathon. I had CPAs in here 4th of July weekend. It was garbage. So we're not hoping for this. But they've already started pushing this. The good thing is the Department of Treasury, the IRS, April 15th, they really need that money for their budget because let's not forget the IRS is a business too. So if they do
private
July 15th, I don't think from a budget standpoint that's going to make sense. Who knows?
Are you guys seeing a decrease in audits as well, just because of the COVID thing? Like, are you seeing just as many audits?
Audits have kind of been down in general. I guess the recent audits that we've had is, wacky transactions or things like that. Nothing like random where they're like, hey, let me just look into this realtor Schedule C,
Right.
But I did read something that they do say now there's going to be an increase in audits for small businesses. So, I don't know.
You shouldn't fear an audit if you do things right. Let's be honest.
That's right.
Right. You guys, if you have a great team like you guys handle that for us. If we ever got audited, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm not sales debit card. I'm not responsible for what goes on there. Everything else, I'll sign off.
I don't think you want to see the company Amex either.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the IRS, because we look at tax returns all the time, and it's like, hey, I've got $300,000 in the bank, but you make 30 grand a year on paper, right? Those businesses are clearly just writing everything off, right? And I'm sure they don't have the receipts and the backup for it. So
I'm on a call. Yeah.
If you think they audited every tax return, how many people do you think would owe way more?
Ooh, good question.
That's a good question. How many people? You know what, Sal?
How many people do you think cheat the IRS?
There's a good percentage, but as aggressive as some people are, I also have super conservative taxpayers too. And I'm like, hey, listen, you can take this deduction. You can do this. It's legal. And here's why. And they're like, nope, that's okay. I don't want to do it. I want to pay my fair share. You'd be surprised. There's conservative people out there too.
I see it all the time. We look at tax returns all the time, and I'm like, man, I feel like you could have way more deductions, right? Mm-hmm. But some people just feel like they want to pay more taxes to do their fair share. And it's kind of funny because you've got a whole other group of people that are trying to, minimize that. It just depends on what side of the fence you are. There are arguments for everything, right? But so do you guys see a mad dash to get people's taxes? Are you like, how busy between the PPP, the tax return thing? How busy are you? How are you guys going to handle all that?
We're busy as shit.
Yeah, we're fine right now. But we beefed up. I got interns here. I got some staff accountants we brought in. We're rolling about 25 people right now.
Nice.
So, it's now the time where we kind of get everybody in rhythm, and we just went through that last week. But knock on wood, we're growing and we're slammed, and we're just trying to stay in front of it for all of our clients.
Now's a tough time too, because not all the tax docs are out there right now, and you have some people that are pushing to get filed, and I want to get this done, and blah. I need to get my tax file. We can't even file for 2 weeks, And I guarantee you don't even have all your tax documents. So people push us to file. It's like, okay, fine, get off my back. We'll get all your stuff in there. The tax return forms aren't even final. The return's probably going to change. And 9 out of 10 times I go, oh, I received this in the mail. I didn't know this was going to be taxable, and we have to rerun their whole return. So it's like a balancing act, because obviously we want to get the work done because we know more files are going to come in, but it's also like, I just have an idea that this return is going to change,
Yeah. It's a kind of limbo stage. One thing I tell a lot of your listeners, your audience, the realtors, this is a good time to talk about your situation. Keep in mind, we can make some late elections right now. For example, you hear S corporations and LLCs and how you're set up, your structure. You can make a late S election today that would go retro for all of 2020, and your business, your real estate business, would be treated as an S corporation for 2020. That can be done now. Significant amount of tax savings. One of the biggest things me and John see when dealing with realtors or small businesses, it's not so much the deductions, it's how they're set up.
The setup, yeah.
The entity is critical for realtors.
I mean, that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. We've seen, Sal, you've seen this, Brad, you've seen this. We've seen tax returns that have been really screwed up for people, and they end up not qualifying for mortgages because they did it wrong. They don't have the right deductions. They're not set up correctly because there's no penalty, John, for setting your business up incorrectly, right? Like nobody's sitting there saying, hey, you're not really an LLC and you should be doing this as an nobody's doing that when you submit your taxes.
Well, there's compliance stuff on the corporation side. In Michigan, you have to have your broker's license. You have to have what's called a reasonable compensation, W-2 wages for an S corporation. So that's there. But I'm like, hey, I'm filing a Schedule C and I'm giving away all this extra self-employment tax. There's no notification on that. I'll never forget, about 8-9 years ago, a big realtor in the area, $1.5, $2 million GCI, gross 1099, came in late December, January.
You want to get on the call?
We made a late election for him, and saved him, I think, over $100,000 just by the election. Not even adding in any other deductions or doing anything crazy, just by the setup. So that's critical.
It goes to show you, and I think we're a little spoiled, Sal and Brad. I mean, Brad's a great controller. He handles everything for us. He does a good job. But ultimately, if you don't have a good team, if you're an agent or self-employed and you don't have the proper counsel around you to set you up properly, you can really make some big mistakes. You really can. That can really cost you a lot of money. That's why like when people say, I don't have an accountant, and I'm like, well, who does your shit? And they're like, I do. I do it all. Even me as a loan officer, or Brad or Sal, and we've looked at probably as many tax returns, sometimes maybe not as many as you guys, but we see a lot of tax returns too, right? And we understand how to calculate income, but I don't know how to set that up properly. I know I can calculate income off of it, but I don't know if it's set up improperly, and that's why it takes an acute like lenses to be able to look at that and immediately. I mean, you guys have told us about things that we didn't even know about. You know what I mean? And you're like, you should do X, Y, and Z. And Brad's like, oh yeah, we should do that. We should.
The thing is too, though, like the taxpayer really needs to want to learn about it and understand it and want to do it as well. Like,
right.
Let me offer these things and tell them all the things behind it. But if they don't fully understand it or don't take it serious, it's hard to fully take advantage of it.
Nobody
like
wants to
running payroll for an S corp instead of cutting yourself a check. Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, dude. It's like, Sal, it's like when we tell someone that, hey, if you refinance, you're going to save $400 a month, and all you got to do is sign this paperwork, and they're like, it's too much work. Sometimes you can lead the horse to water. It doesn't matter what you do or what benefits there are. They just don't move on it, which is interesting. But if you're a person that files your own taxes, you're missing something. I guarantee you, if you're filing your own taxes or if you're going to TurboTax, you're going to miss something that these guys would catch. And people are like, well, I could do my own taxes for $50 or whatever it is on TurboTax, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that $50 is going to cost you thousands if you do it incorrectly. Am I right?
Could be, absolutely.
I'm a business owner. I'm not doing my own taxes.
No,
It doesn't make
small businesses, and especially realtors, those new realtors, first, second, third year, you're running a business now. A lot of these realtors left a W-2 job and they're now into real estate and they get this income and they don't know what to do with it. That's a business. You have to run it like a business, set it up properly, pay yourself, take advantage of the deductions. How are your quarterlies? Are you paying in your estimated taxes? Oh, well, guess what? If you don't, there's underpayment of estimated tax penalties out there. Just for not giving the government money evenly throughout the year, they'll kill you with a penalty. Why give them extra money? Listen, we all leave our wives and kids and whoever else, and we go and we work, right? And we go and we try to make money. At the end of the day, we want to hold on to the most amount of money possible, period. So you have to look at it that way, these realtors and small businesses. You're a business now.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And how many agents? Because I think you hit something that's really poignant. A lot of new agents get into the business. They might have been W-2 their whole life. They might have never, whatever. And they don't understand that they are actually self-employed if they're 1099, right? On some level. And they don't take the time or understand the nuances of setting up the proper, so how many agents come to you guys and their stuff's just all fucked up?
A lot, especially realtors. More so some of the restaurant people and other small businesses that we deal with, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be as messy as the realtors, but the realtors are the best salespeople out there, right?
Yeah.
They're selling, they're prospecting, they're running, they're gunning, they're doing their business. They're supposed to be doing that. That's the sales side. They need an op side over here to get them in line and make sure that it's all running how it's supposed to be. So really, if a realtor it has that op side locked down too much, maybe they're not spending as much time as they should prospecting, right?
Sure.
But overall, it seems like realtors early on need some guidance, need some help, and that makes sense. That's what we're here to do. We like helping them.
I know from experience, every single agent that we've referred over to you has found value in talking to you guys. There's not many people that I've sent over to you guys that have said, oh, they didn't help me out. Never happens. I've never heard that, because agents, so many agents, even ones that make a ton of money, right? They get into the business, they're in it for a year, 2 years, they start making some real money for the first time in their lives, and they just spend it all, and they don't realize at the end of the year they're going to get clipped for taxes. Am I right on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to a lot of clients, and especially real estate clients, where it's like, yeah, I mean, your taxes look okay, but you owe $60,000 and you got to pay that, and basically that's all you have saved. So, in those situations, what options do people have as far as setting up, payment plans and things like that? Because I think, for a lot of agents who haven't maybe been doing it right the past few years, I mean, no one's came and, Wesley sniped them, right? And put them in, cuffs and taking them to jail,
Wesley
right?
Snipes. Oh my God. Blade Runner, bro.
But, they probably have 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, a lot of agents I talk to haven't even filed for 3 or 4 years.
Sure. Yeah.
It happens all the time. Yeah.
You can set up payment plans. Even with the new COVID rules, they're making it easier to get in payment plans depending on how much money you owe. Even, there's other things. Let's say you have a retirement account. You can pull money out of that, and you have up to 3 years to put it back in without getting penalized or taxed on it. So that's not a bad way either to almost set up a payment plan internally, use that money to pay off your taxes, and then just
pay yourself back.
There's a lot of things out there. A lot of people too, they wait till tax time. They wait till that year ends and they're like, oh, I'm screwed. In the middle of the year, if you're on top of your stuff, you kind of know, hey, I'm exploding. I'm having a big year. I need to talk to my CPA now, not once the year ends, because there's a lot of stuff you have to do before the year ends, right? Or if you want to, send in an estimate, for second or third quarter that's bigger than what was set up for you, so you don't have such a bill waiting for you. And that's why we say you got to run your thing like a business. Be on top of your thing. Don't just throw all your receipts in a folder and do all your expenses at the end of the year. Set up a QuickBooks account. Link your bank account and credit card to it. Once a month, just go through it. Click off supplies, meals. Then at the end of the year, you don't have anything waiting for you, and you have a better idea of of how you're running as a business.
Yeah. And on top of that, what Sal was talking about too, besides currently some of these realtors haven't filed or they're scared, people are afraid of the unknown, right? And we make it pretty simple. We can get a CPA power of attorney. We can request transcripts from the IRS to see what's been filed in your name, right? So I don't know, I had a W-2 here, I was doing this, I lived in Colorado, I was selling weed, I don't know what's showing up under my name, right? Yeah. We can get the transcript, piece it together year by year, sit down, go over our deduction checklist. We make that non-filing process very painless, get you current, and then more importantly, that good game plan moving forward.
So I'll give you a personal story. So when I first started working at Quicken, I was like 23 years old, started making a lot of money, and I didn't file taxes for like 3 years because I was just like, I don't know why. I was just a slug back then, right? I was like a little kid making a ton of money. I didn't feel like doing it.
People,
What's that?
Taxes scare people. Just the whole process.
They scare people. Yeah, I was young. It scared the shit out of me. And then as I fell behind, I had this impending doom that I'm like, oh my God, the government's going to come after me. So one day I finally saw a CPA. This was a long time ago before I knew you guys. And he went back retroactively, did my taxes. And lo and behold, I got like $10,000 back.
Right.
So like, and then I was like, why didn't I do this out of fear? So my message to people is, do not let the fear of the unknown. It's never, especially in this scenario, if you have professionals like Joe and John that have your back, they can actually make it so that you come out on top. And the fear shouldn't be debilitating because you've got to face that no matter what. But as long as you got a good team around you that's going to do it right, they can fix it. It's not unfixable. Am I right? Like you can fix any issue.
Very painless process.
Right.
We kind of take your hand and walk you through the whole thing, get you current on that. And we see that a lot of non-filers.
So let me ask you this. This is another question I want to ask you. So some people go to a tax preparer. I'm a real estate agent. I went to Liberty, whatever, right? I went to a tax preparer. Is it true that you don't have to be licensed to prepare somebody's taxes?
That is true. Yeah, Sal had that one. It was ZNA Tax Services. I forget the exact name.
Yeah,
he was dealing with them in the past. And absolutely, you do not need a license. Accountants, other people. Guys, I mean, what's so funny in here today?
I don't know. John's laughing. I'm laughing.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But
I want to prepare taxes. Yeah.
No, you do not. And that's scary. Like, would you go see a doctor who isn't licensed?
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's crazy with how much knowledge that you guys have and how little I have comparatively speaking to each other in this realm, right? Even though I look at taxes,
it would be penny wise, pound foolish, right? People are like,
people get so scared of the fees too, and
it's $200 or whatever, right? And it's like, dude, like you ended up getting back 500 more.
That $200 when a professional does it saves you thousands, man. And we have seen just so many fucked up tax returns in our lives, and you see the name on there, like you said, Sal, and it's like Aunt Tilly did my taxes. Well, Aunt Tilly doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, right? No. But Jim Bob, who's a real estate agent, thinks Aunt Tilly knows what she's doing, and he ends up effing himself because he didn't have a professional do it. That's and right. It's like, would you let a mechanic who never worked on a car work on your car? Would you let a house builder build your house who's not licensed? It is one of the oddest things from that standpoint. And here's the other thing that people don't understand. Whoever the tax preparer is that signed that off on that does not absolve you from any omissions or mistakes that you made on that, because you're signing off on that yourself. So it doesn't matter who prepared it. Whoever is the tax payer is still responsible for any mistakes. Am I right?
They're the taxpayer. They're signing off. Very, very rarely do we ever see tax preparer penalties.
Right.
It's on the taxpayers. So no, you're absolutely right. And be careful. You know, you see enrolled agents, Joe Schmo EA. That enrolled agent test, my 7-year-old son could probably pass that. I'm not bashing enrolled agents, and that's great. That's another credential. but there's definitely a difference between a CPA and an accountant.
John's like, I passed that test. Why are you making fun of me? John's like, I passed it the third time.
I think it was 4, but John, we work with John, and we have patience with John and all that.
No, John is listen, here's another thing that people don't understand. Having a good team around you will save you money, and because let me give you an example. First time COVID hit, PPP was coming out. Very first inclination that we began. Joe was on the phone calling me, man. Joe called me, said, listen, man, here's what's coming down the pike. Here's what we have opportunities for. I'm going to keep you posted, but it's going to be good for you. I was like, dude, that kind of service you're not going to get from Aunt Tilly preparing your taxes, right? You got to have
really care about our clients.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly. We want to make sure that they're doing things right and grow with them. And in fact, on my brother, John is probably the most technical CPA op guy out there. So yeah, I bash him and I give him shit. Listen,
he's like a little computer, dude. He knows every little nuance.
On the op side, he's very technical.
He is very technical. He's hard to hang out with or be around for very long. But other than that,
don't get him drinking, but that's a whole nother story.
I hear he does the best taxes preparation when he is drinking. Like when John is hammered,
he's going to get really creative.
Yeah, people get a lot of refunds. We got to keep him drunk.
Yeah, that's when I work on Omega stuff. Is when I'm drunk.
We get you heroin for us, dude. I know.
I heard Dale quit drinking. Is that a rumor or is that a potential?
I mean, unless he quit drinking last night. I mean, last night
I haven't in a while, man.
Good for you. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah,
no, we all went up.
I don't think you've drank since like pre-COVID.
Me? Truthfully, I had a cocktail last night. To answer
what do you guys see? Because I feel like a lot of people this year potentially could have had an opportunity to make some money in the stock market where things are at now, right? Or crypto, right? We've seen in the past few months some crazy numbers out of the market. And mind you, if they sell, right, they're going to have some taxes to pay. But, if they don't, they'll probably get absolutely murdered in the next few months. Who knows? But what do you see with that? You think a lot of people are just going to not report it, or do you get a 1099 from Coinbase or whatever?
I don't know if there's going to be 1099s from crypto now. I know they've been fishing for it. I'm not sure if Coinbase
does it. Yeah, Coinbase gives you tax paperwork. They do. They've got a section there that's set up just specifically so you can file taxes on it. I know that the government's going to want their taxes on it. So if you are making money on crypto, I suggest just pay it because at some point they're going to come after it, right?
Absolutely. So John had referred to them phishing. The last couple of years, they're asking a question to every taxpayer. Have you bought, sold, or owned crypto? Okay. Yeah. You're just asking that question, yes or no. The last time the IRS asked this question was on foreign bank accounts or FBARs, foreign bank account reported. Okay. They asked. Year 4, they came through and they hit a bunch of people on massive penalties. Some of the penalties were more than the amount that they actually had in the bank account. So just know that the last time that they asked that question, they followed up with penalties. What they're going to do now, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's best to be honest, report if you made any money, pay your taxes, and be done with it. Some of the greatest criminals in history, let's say Al Capone.
Tax evasion.
He killed 100 people. He had gambling rings and drug rings and ran Chicago. He goes to prison for tax evasion. So
and
keep that in mind.
And they smashed him for tax evasion. That's not just him, Wesley. I mean, if you're a criminal, right? Sometimes they can't catch you on the criminal side, but they can follow up on your taxes, right? That's all documented, and you're right.
I guess it's just simply put, if you knowingly are, evading taxes, you're criminal, right? I mean,
you're
playing with fire.
Right. Now you can make mistakes. You can make legitimate mistakes. I don't think anybody's saying look, I didn't know I was supposed to, say I had crypto. Well, the moment you realize it, tell your CPA so you can fix it, right? Don't wait it out. Talk to your professional. If you don't have someone to talk to, dude, I look at the world like this. I know Sal, Brad, you guys look like this. Joe and John, I know you do. You should have a guy for everything that you trust, right? You should have a guy or guys that you trust that are going to have your back. Your life, business-wise, is only as good as your ecosystem. We could kill it at Omega, be smashing it, ripping all distributions out of the company and never paying taxes, and we could be out of business in 3 years because we didn't do things the right way. Right?
Surround yourself not just with people that are smarter than you.
Smarter than you, yes.
Your team should be smarter than you, right?
And yes. In those categories, like you should have a good doctor. You should have a good CPA. You should have a good lawyer. You should have these things, especially if in your real estate or you're self-employed or you're in business. I think everybody should have these people, and people might say, I want to save a couple bucks. Those couple bucks that you save hurt you long term.
Let's not beat the hell out of the horse. We talked about
I know. I'm very, very,
let's get some good questions in for the listeners too, right? Like, I would say like one thing that I always get asked is, man, I just bought this house like 3 years ago, right? I bought it for $150. Now I'm selling it for $200, right? Like, what does that look like for a consumer with capital gains?
Now, is it their primary house or they're flipping it?
Primary. So
if it's the primary, they've lived in it for over 2 years, there's no capital gains on that.
So what if they sold it at like 1.5?
So if they sold at 1.5, there's exceptions, right? So you have to cite a reason of why you're getting out of it early. Now, I've never seen anything like this. They have to say I moved for medical reasons or for work or it's very gray area. And if that's the case, then the capital gain would be prorated over the time that you were there for.
So if it's 1.5 years, you only pay the capital gains on that extra half year that you don't live in the house.
I'll wipe it out because it's what I say is prorated is the capital gain exclusion. So if you're single, 250,000 in capital gains get excluded. If you're married, 500,000 in capital gains get excluded. So basically, if you're there for 1.5 years, you'll get 75% of that 250 or of that 500. So they'll still wipe out that gain. You just have to cite the reasoning why you had to do it. I've never seen that pop up. I'm not sure how much an IRS would dig on that, but that's technically the rules on it.
Yeah. Let me ask. Can I ask you guys this? A lot of times we have parents that give gift funds for down payments, right? And a question that pops up all the time is, look, my dad's giving me $40,000 to buy this house as a gift. Are there tax implications on that side of it, or is that not? Because I get it asked all the time. Well, is that a gift? Is that going to go under the inheritance tax? Like, how does that work?
So each person can gift another individual $15,000 under the current code. Okay, so dad gifts the son 15, mom gifts the son 15, whatever. But let's say the dad gifts the son 40. Okay,
yeah,
the 15 would be excluded. The other 25 would actually come off the father's what's called lifetime estate exclusion. So what you're able to exclude from an estate level.
Right.
And right now, those numbers, roughly $11 million single, $22 million married filing jointly is the estate amount that you can exclude. So the difference would come off of that. So no tax implications, yet it has to be reported. That estate number, another thing that's being talked about, rumored, they're going to drop that down. At one point during Barack Obama's regime, that estate number was like only $2 million. Okay.
Wow.
So it's super, super high right now. So keep that.
That's an accumulation, right? So let's say they give 40,000, you've got 35,000. I'm sorry, 25,000 left over. If you get 15, right? So you report that 25,000 comes off of whatever the estate max is.
You have to file a gift tax return, and the difference would chip away at the exclusion.
No implications. And then you go on to the next year, another 40, another 25 would come off that estate like that.
So
how many people do you think actually track that shit? Because like nobody thinks I'm gonna give my son $40,000. Oh, I better tell that to my CPA. I better put that in my taxes. Nobody thinks that. Like, I'm just giving my son money.
A lot of people do, probably, right? Like people
we get the question a lot.
40, 50,000. But
keep
So
in
let's
mind,
say-
they're calling us. So the people that are calling us are going to report it. How many people that don't call us and don't report it? There's probably a lot out there.
A lot of people don't
the
report
question
it.
would be like, so okay, in 2020 it was $15 million or whatever, right? Let's say they banish it to zero, right? Is it all
Retroactive?
Yeah, to that year, or do you end up, eventually like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying. I guess it depends on the code. It's probably grandfathered in. I'm assuming they can't say, hey, it was 20 million exclusion. You've excluded 10 million so far, and now it's zero. You need to pay tax on that 10 million. I would hope not.
Right. To John's point, though, and Sal, your point, whatever the code ends up being, it ends up being. If they decide that it's retroactive, then it can be retroactive. It's like a purchase agreement. You can put anything in the purchase agreement. Same thing with a tax bill. If they wanted X and it passes. Do you guys worry about tax code with the new government regime? What do you think obviously Donald Trump was very lax when he said talk about taxes. He's a great tax evader, right? That's kind of his claim to fame. I mean, he was really good at it. Didn't want to show his taxes because he probably does a lot of crazy tax loophole stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Now with the new regime coming in, it sounds like things are going to get tighter, much tighter on the tax side. Who do you think gets affected most on that, and what do you think some of the implications might be with the new regime coming in?
It looks like that again, just that 20% RIP example I gave you, and the low C corporation, and then if tax brackets go up, really it looks like overall that the new tax reform would cost the majority of taxpayers more tax. Okay. Yeah. You agree with that, John?
Yeah, and even like the lower middle class, where people think, well, Trump only cares about the rich. The tax reform actually helped them a lot. The standard deduction was doubled, tax rates were lower, child tax credit was doubled. So just right there, if if you have lower income, you're getting a ton of help, from the government. So if they bring that standard deduction back down to where it was, that's going to hurt a lot of people. That doubled standard deduction helped a lot of lower income people. Same thing with the child tax credit. That goes back down from 2,000 to a 1,000. That's going to hurt a lot, the majority of lower income middle class people.
Trump's reform was such an overkill of reducing down taxes that this new one, it would be impossible for them not to increase taxes. Whether it's right or wrong, whoever had it but do you see what I'm saying?
It's the reality. Yeah. He swung the pendulum so far to one side that there's nowhere to go but up.
It'd be very, very hard not to expose the majority of taxpayers to more taxes. Even better reason to reach out, get a good, legally aggressive CPA like me and John, and take a look at it. The one thing is, we know that there's some changes coming probably. The first thing that Trump did was he destroyed Obamacare, right? That was his first thing in office. And they're saying that's going to be one of Biden's first priorities would be to destroy the Trump tax reform. So
interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. Wow. All right, so let's do 3 questions, guys. You guys got any questions for John and Joe right now?
Yeah, if you guys were professional wrestlers, what would your entrance song be?
Great question, Brad. Very good question.
I think I would do the Ultimate Warriors, like that high music, like the intense, fast rhythm, ropes, something like that, like a tone like that. I would come in crazy. I would come in like a bat out of hell, something like that.
Mine would be the Pistons theme song. Do-do-do-do. Yeah. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. That's what about you, John?
I'd maybe do like the other way, like Psych 'Em Out, kind of like do like a Sinatra My Way, where it's like real. And you're like, man, there's something wrong with this guy.
My way, and you're walking in like a killer, like I'm gonna kill you my way.
Psych 'Em Out.
Sal, what about you? That's a great question. I like this one. That's a new one.
I like that question.
What about you, Mr. Sweet? What would your?
I mean, I don't know.
What do
I
you
would like really do something fucked up, like play no music. Like,
Just come down drinking a vodka.
I'd have them roll me in a wheelchair with like a fucking mask.
Sal's rapping
Towel over
Tupac
my head
over
or
his own mic.
something.
Sal walks through with
man.
his own mic and is rapping Tupac like.
Ooh, a rapper bringing a rapper.
Probably not, man. I
Like
don't think
that
so.
one
I mean, look at
boxing
me.
movie. You remember Great White Hype? You guys
Yes.
ever watch that? And he comes down with Method Man.
Yep.
Method Man, I came to bring the pain. That was very good.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Brad, you have one?
I mean, I don't know. I'd probably, and depending on what my character would be, but I'd probably have some crazy hillbilly banjo shit coming in.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You got a question for these guys?
Yeah, if you guys, I like this question. I asked it to everyone recently. If you could be a fly on the wall in one moment in history, you know, like be a witness to it, right? What would it be?
Man,
That's a good question.
that is a
I'd
good.
like to be in when COVID hit, somewhere in the White House with his team early on, when they kind of went to the private sector and they went to Fauci and they were figuring this out. I'd love to see that. You know, they were saying that his team was up for 2-3 days straight. The president was coming in all tired. For me, I'd like to see that.
The real conversations about what's really going. That's a pretty good one. John, what about you?
I guess to go with COVID, maybe I'd be a fly on a wall in that lab in Wuhan when they
When they created,
yeah
like,
They
oh,
manufactured this.
really know what happened.
oh, this gun killed many people.
Man,
Sorry, that was really racist. I'll give you my question. So in general terms, we all have porn names, and they say that your porn name would be your middle name and the street you grew up on. So, for instance, mine, since I don't have a middle name, my porn name would be Ridgedale. So I would just be Ridgedale, which kind of sounds good. I'd be like, hey, what's up, Ridgedale?
Or would it be blank Ridgedale?
There's no blank. I mean,
You don't have a middle name?
I don't. Do I need a middle name, bro? Have you seen my name? I'm Polychronus Apostolakis. There's no room in the alphabet to put more letters on my license. It's already cut off as it is. What's your middle name, Joe?
So my middle name's John. You know, us Italians.
Interesting.
John. His name's John. My dad's name's John. My son's Joey. So
Greeks.
I'd be John. And I grew up on Durrell. So Johnny Durrell.
I like that. Yeah, Johnny Durrell.
Yeah.
Yes. What about you, John?
So it's kind of weird, you know, because we're brothers. Obviously, we grew up on the same street. So
Yeah.
I'm Frankie Durrell. So I don't know how that works out.
Dude, you guys could be a tag team aficionado. You guys could be.
No brother tag team unless we're wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It could be like you guys come into the wrestling ring.
it could be the wrestling name.
That's what you meant, anyways. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sal, what about you?
I'm John Davidson.
You sound that word. You should just stick with Sal Cusbato. It's better. Brad, what about you?
Mine's probably the worst one. It's I'd be James Willow.
Like you just be the little willow tree, dude.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
That's what Brad's known for. Eh?
That's the one
It'd be
nobody wants to
James
see.
Willow featuring Ridgedale. You would just be like holding the. Oh man, guys, please tell the audience how they can get a hold of you. And then Natalia, will you put it up on the screen because Nathan Nix was asking that?
Yeah, 248-649-8720. Angelcompany.com. Complimentary review to anybody who heard this today. Realtors, how you're set up. Are you taking advantage of the PPP, forgiveness, the new PPP, tax filings, all that good stuff.
And let's just be clear, you guys are all across the country in the U.S. So it doesn't mean that if you're just if you're in real estate or if you're self-employed or if you just want your tax return, these guys will service you. And I promise you, nobody does a better job. So, Natalia, will you put it up on the screen so people can see it too? John, what about you? If they want to get a hold of you directly for any kind of shooting of videos or anything like that.
Yeah.
By the way, Angel Company is with 2 L's. Just remember that.
Angel Company. Yeah. Yeah. When you call up here, ask for Joe or John Jr. You can email Joe at angelcompany.com or meet John Frank, Jon at angelcompany.com. Shoot us an email. We can help you out.
Guys, just before we go, how's Senior and how's Ma?
They're good. Senior's walking the halls. He doesn't even know what to do right now since we're on these calls. He's bored as shit.
Yeah,
I'm in here on the video.
When are you guys releasing the show that you guys are going to do, the reality show around the Angell and Company office?
I function internally. The Angels are really getting along well.
Okay.
Now we have some kind of employee drama going on. So very, very good footage. Very good footage.
There won't be any building maintenance, patching holes, and
no, I don't think.
No. It'll be a good year.
Can we tell that story where there was a hole in your wall?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Tax day, April 15th, a few years ago, we just went through 70-hour work weeks. Me and my brother, his office is right next to mine here. Last day of tax season, something happened, came up with the client. He came in here. I called him a name. Okay. I called him one thing led to the next. We got into a nice little kind of pushing fight, and we created large holes in our drywall.
But we always say we never threw a punch. So
fair enough.
The other thing, it changes things if you throw a punch. It was just a little tussle. We let out some aggression, and obviously we talked to each other.
You guys are passionate guys.
You're never going to fight.
We said we love you. The wives were like, "What happened?" We're like, "Don't even worry about it." We talked that night and we moved on. It was just heat of the moment. But it was a huge.
I know, I saw it.
It was my back. It was my back.
Which is a big
I wasn't going
back.
to say it, but it was his back into the drywall. I wasn't going to go there. But,
It was my back.
he caught me good though. I had scratches and no punches. It was interesting.
Anybody listening, you won't find another company that's more passionate about your taxes that they will throw each other through walls
To get it done the right way.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, when are we hanging out, boys? I haven't seen you guys in forever. Come by the office sometime.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys. As always, very informative. We'll talk to you on the other side. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks.
All right. So obviously Joe and Jon, you can get rid of them now. I was just going to talk to the boys in the show. There we go. What is going on? What happened? There we go. Those guys are awesome. I love those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we got PPP money coming potentially. Brad, are you on that?
No.
Can you get on that, please?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, for everybody that stuck around this long, really appreciate you guys listening to the show. Obviously, Joe and Jon add a lot of value as to people's knowledge. Next week, we'll be back on like we do every week. So for those of you that listen, please go to irepodcast.com or Facebook/IRE podcast to see our faces, or anywhere else the podcast apps are. Listen to, we love you. We appreciate the support, and please send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you, guys. We are out. Boys, I'll be in the office in a few because I left my computer there.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.